Hey everybody, what's up? You are going to love this episode. I was recently in St. Louis, Missouri, and I sat down with a fellow Phorm athlete, Bobby Maximus, and he is somebody that truly practices and cultivates a lifestyle of excellence in everything that he does, from being a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Black Belt to being a father and a husband. He was a police officer. He just has so much life experience that I know his perspective and his mindset on things is really going to speak to such a wide variety of people. So get ready to be really inspired. We have such a deep conversation that covers quite a few different topics. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to let you guys know about the Cured Nutrition product of the day that I wanted to share with you guys, which is Rise. Rise is a nootropic formulated by Cured's very own in-house clinical herbalist. It contains a blend of lion's mane and cordyceps mushrooms as the main ingredients, as well as rhodiola, ginseng, and broad spectrum CBD. Now, I personally love Rise because instead of going for more caffeine and more energy drinks or another cup of coffee, I love taking Rise because the nootropic helps your brain to function optimally. So for my podcast, I'm able to have better and clearer thinking. I'm able to formulate my sentences and my words and my thoughts and the direction of the podcast in a better way. And I just feel better overall. I feel like when I'm pumping too much caffeine in my body, it really takes a toll on my body. So I encourage you guys, especially if you are a competitor or in prep, I know a lot of you guys listen to the show, or if you're someone that just has really heavily relied on caffeine, consider switching that second cup of coffee, that second energy drink, to something like Rise. I know that you guys will love this product, and it's something that you truly will feel the results of as soon as you take it. Right now, Cured is extending an exclusive offer to you, my listeners. You can grab Rise for 20% off by visiting www.curednutrition.com/Emily Hayden and using coupon code Emily Hayden at checkout. That's CURED nutrition.com/Emily Hayden and coupon code Emily Hayden at checkout to save 20%. You guys can also go to my link below and check out some of my other favorite products. When you click the link, you'll see a link that says Emily's Favorites. You can look on there. And any of those products, you guys, you will end up loving. I have no doubt, because I have just used them and really loved them as an addition in my life. So make sure to check them out. Don't forget, email your receipt to evolvewithemily@gmail.com to be entered into the May and June giveaway that I'm doing. At the end of June, I'll look through all of the emails that I've gotten and I will choose multiple winners. So every single receipt is an entry, and I hope that you guys will get your entry in. All right, let's get to today's show.
I try to fast in the morning.
You always fast?
I did when I got, I almost died in 2018.
How?
I had this disease called Clostridium difficile, which is like a gut disease.
Okay.
And I got an antibiotic resistant version of it. So antibiotics wouldn't kill it.
Yeah.
And so I lost 47 pounds in 30 days.
Oh my gosh.
I was bedridden for a little bit. Like I was shitting blood like crazy.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
There was a point I had to wear diapers because like I would shit my pants if I was out. Like if I had to go now, I had to go now. And eventually I got a fecal matter transplant to fix it.
Wow, isn't that wild?
And the most wild thing about it is that pharmaceuticals, they want you to take the antibiotics, but I couldn't get a fecal matter transplant. Like they won't approve it because it's cheap and the pharmaceutical companies can't make a lot of money off it.
So they don't want you to do it.
So finally I got it and it cured me. And then I was better. But ever since then, I've really been into gut health.
Yeah.
And so like a partial fast or like somewhat fasting really helps keep your gut healthy.
Yeah, it's so good for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I did a fast, let's see, 2 weeks ago maybe. But I did like from Sunday at like 9 p.m. to Tuesday at like 9 a.m. Just randomly felt like I wanted to do a fast, and it's so good. I feel like it resets your body.
It's good for you because of like, I guess, my connections. I was able to talk to one of the best gut doctors in the world. Mm-hmm. And the way she explained it to me was that if you have ulcers in your gut, because I was left with what they said would be permanent ulcerative colitis, which would be terrible.
Yeah, what would that entail? Like
medicine for the rest of my life, like more medicine that has side effects.
Yeah.
And what she said is, imagine you had a scab or like a cut, and you took a Brillo pad and you rubbed it every day. It would never ever heal.
Oh yeah.
So to let your guts heal of ulcers, you have to give your guts time to do nothing to heal. So I went on a diet of bone broth, red berries, arugula, and like protein powder, and reds and greens. The reds were the big one, like to help with the gut.
Okay.
And then I did that for like 6 months, and then I didn't need meds anymore.
That's wild.
The ulcerative colitis the doctors told me that could never be taken care of was all of a sudden cured.
Yeah.
And now I'm good, but I still follow some gut health protocols just in case, because I could be susceptible to this for the rest of my life.
For sure.
And so I just want to be careful.
So fasting for you is so much more than just a dieting preference.
But I can't full fast as an athlete.
Yeah,
so that's where like a super high quality protein like the Formula One, the collagen is actually, I've done some research. The first Phorm collagen is the best collagen on the market by far.
Yeah.
So I use that.
That's awesome.
A little bit of MCT for some fat, and then it gives me enough nutrients to get till noon or 1 or whatever I can eat.
Yeah. Are you friends with Rachel Scheer on the First Phorm team?
I am not.
Have you guys talked? Okay. So she was here this weekend, but you guys definitely need to connect. So she's like a gut health specialist, and she shares her story about how the doctors told her her only option was to remove her entire large intestine.
They were going to do the same thing to me too, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you're not taking nothing out.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And she healed herself as well. So it's just it's crazy, because think about people that don't have the right resources or the right ability to think critically when it comes to their own health and nutrition. They'll just follow whatever people tell them to do, and they'll think this is my only option. So I think it's amazing to have people like yourself and her that are like, that's not happening. We have got to find another way, and that actually do get relief and healing from natural methods. So
I also don't inherently trust the medical system. Like
I no longer trust any system.
But the way it's set up, it's a money-driven system.
Yeah.
So when you're telling me I need to get my intestine taken out, is that because I need to, or because you need $50,000 for a surgery that you're going to bill my insurance?
Literally.
There's almost like something there that like, when you're trying to sell me something and you own the company and you tell me it's the best.
Yeah.
Is it the best, or are you trying to sell me something? And that's how our medical system's set up. So like it doesn't mean all doctors are bad. It doesn't mean that all doctors do that. But I'll bet there's a lot of surgeries in this country that happen that didn't need 100% to happen. So I'm like, I'm going to try to heal this by myself.
Yeah.
And if it works, great. And if not, then I might come back to you and revisit that option.
Are you into Joe Dispenza?
No.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you got to get into him. So he has this book called Evolve Your Brain, right? And of course, I'm super about all of that. So I was reading it, and he talks about how he was in a triathlon and he was on his bike. He got hit by a car going, I think, like 40 miles an hour or something, and had, his spine was injured in so many different places. The doctors were like, your only option is multiple surgeries, or you may never walk again. And long story short, he healed himself, literally healed himself without any surgery, without any of that. Obviously doing physical therapy and eating healthy and meditating on healing and all sorts of real practical things, as well as like a mindset and just a vision that he had for himself of being healed. So check him out. He's pretty cool. All right. Well, welcome to the Evolve with Emily show.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm so happy to hear you, or to have you here. Everybody that is listening today, we have on Bobby Maximus. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt. He was just on the Ultimate Fighter season 30.
That's correct.
He is a UFC vet. He is an IBJFF. That's a lot of syllables there. IBJFF World Master Champ, men's health best-selling author. He is married. He has kids. He's been a cop. He's into fitness. He's done just so many things. You have so much life experience to offer. So I'm really excited for today's conversation. So let's, actually, I kind of want to bring up, right before you came up here, I was scrolling your feed a little bit because I was like, all right, let's get into some real stuff. And I saw an interview, which is funny. I forgot that I had shared a podcast interview that you were on. You're on someone else's podcast, a mutual friend of ours, John Bartolo, who, rest in peace. But it was crazy because on that actual episode that aired, in the clip that you shared, I went back to look at it today, and you sit there and you with such conviction are telling him, you and we have no idea how much time we have left. We can't let it be one more day until we do this or until we do that. And, now he's passed since then, which none of us would have ever expected. So it's really wild to look back at that interview, right? Because I feel like sometimes it can be you know, I don't know, motivational speaker thing to say, like, life's short, you only have one life, right? But when you have an actual interview, someone you were interviewing with earlier this year, not here with us, and he was young and he was healthy and he was into fitness and health and jiu-jitsu and all these things, I think it really opens your eyes to say that you're absolutely right. Like, we really do only have one life. And I know you also lost your father at only, I think he was 49, right? Yeah. And that's insane to think about. So, you know, I kind of want to get into your motivation for all the different things that you do. Like, when I look at you and I see everything that you've done, you've been involved in, where you're going, I see someone that is like experiencing the fullness of life. So talk to me a little bit about, like, have you always been that way? Where does your motivation for, you know, going out and doing all these crazy things come from?
So it probably stems from when my dad died. And when I say probably, I mean for sure.
Absolutely.
But it took a minute to get here to this place. And so my dad died when I was 20. I came from a fairly religious family. Like, we're very Catholic. I was an altar boy for 8 years.
Nice.
And not that, like, our lives are centered around God, but we were religious.
Yeah.
And when I was 20, my dad died. I was on my way home for Thanksgiving, and my grandma said that your dad's had a heart attack. You need to, like, go straight home. And it turned out it was more than a heart attack. He was without oxygen for 19 minutes. He was brain dead. He was on life support. We had to make a decision to pull the plug, and then my dad was gone.
Wow.
I was really close with my dad. But I never had a chance to tell him goodbye, never had a chance to tell him I love him, never really had a chance to connect. I mean, we say, I love you in passing,
right.
but it's not like a deep, heartfelt, like I communicate now.
Yeah.
And so everything changed. All of a sudden, I didn't know how I was going to afford university. I didn't know what was going to happen. My life was in a tailspin. And people want to act like they're adults at 20 years old. Let's get one thing straight. You're still a kid.
100%.
You're a child. And I needed my dad. And I was angry. And I didn't know who to be angry at. So I was angry at God. You know, I told a couple of my relatives, if God was a person, I would murder him.
Wow,
like,
that's real.
Because it's just not, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
My dad was a great guy. He worked for the Lions Club. He did charity. He bent over backwards to help people. My dad was universally regarded as, anyone to this day who I meet that knew my dad said he was the kindest person ever. And so how did my dad deserve this?
Yeah.
And so I went through a lot of years angry. I had some behavioral things. I was in a lot of fights. Probably slept with more people than I should have. Engaged in some, like, thrill-seeking type behavior. It's probably why I got into professional fighting, because you're fighting in a cage.
Yeah.
When I was a cop, I was a little bit reckless. I was always a good cop, treated everyone with respect, but, like, sometimes I drive the car a little too hard. Like, when you're going lights and sirens, you don't need to be going 150 miles an hour. But I would do stuff like that. I would just take chances. And eventually I grew out of that. And it was when I had my first son, where I had to realize, like, to let all this anger go. And then I channeled that into really just trying to live every day to the fullest, because we are fragile. Now, to back up my dad's story, as a cop, people die all the time. You don't see it because you're not called to it when it happens.
I see.
But young people die every single day. It's not that rare. We're fragile. You could be walking down the stairs and slip and hit your head and die and be gone. Like, that happens.
Yeah.
Babies die. People, and not from overdoses, not from drinking, not from murder.
Like regular
people
things,
just
die.
die.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because I recognize that with my life experience, I have a different experience than most people, in the sense that a lot of the people I've lost in my life, and I've lost a lot of people in my life, have been like freak accident type things, or things that just like make no sense. Like my super healthy friend that, you know, died on a hiking accident, literally goes hiking all the time. You know, another friend that got hit by a bus walking. So many things. Like another one who she was healthy and fit in her 30s. She was like a second mom to me. Just literally dropped dead, like in her shower one day. And so, yeah, I understand what you're saying on a different level, but I think some people are pretty disconnected from it. And I even hear people talk about like their life plans, and like they stress about like being old and 80. And I'm like, dude, honestly, like I'm not a negative person. I'm actually a very positive person. but like you're just expecting to make it till you're 80, till you're 100, you know?
Yeah. My neighbor, this actually just happened yesterday. My neighbor's about 60 years old. He's a Ukrainian immigrant. I was just talking to him the morning before I left for this trip. He was working on his deck. So physically capable person, working on his deck on the backyard. Talked to him for a minute. He was really excited. He was bringing his family over from the Ukraine, telling me about stuff he was going to do on his house, you know, things like that. They found him dead yesterday in his house.
No way.
So my wife calls me freaked out. She's like,
man.
The neighbor died. And I'm like, what neighbor? She told me. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Like, I just watched him, and that's just a perfect example. You never guess. And so my point is, I don't know if I'm going to go tonight because of a heart defect or some in my kidneys or my liver, or I'm going to get hit by the bus, or I'm going to drown, or I mean, there's all kinds of horrible things that happen, and it sounds morbid. It's not meant to. It's just like people have this.
I think that there's the healthy respect that I think should be there. Yeah.
But people have this idea that they're going to do something tomorrow. You might not have a tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Yeah.
and it was scary with Bartolo because he died 3 weeks after that podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you might not have a tomorrow.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. That's wild. Have you ever struggled with mental health in your life?
Yes, absolutely.
And what was it like at that struggle, and what helped you come out of that?
So when I was younger, I would not have admitted this at the time, but I am sure after my dad died, I was suffering some form of depression. Mine was manifested in anger and doing stuff, like becoming hyper successful at things.
I see.
So maybe that's a better outlet than...
You know, that's interesting that you say that your depression was manifested in being hyperactive towards achieving things, because I feel like that's the person that everyone would look at and think they're great.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you are great. The Rock, he's arguably one of the most successful people in the world. He's talked about suffering from depression. Jay Glazer is a NFL analyst. He's just made a platform of talking about depression, and it's something that at my age, I'm 43. People of my generation look at mental health with such a stigma.
Why?
I don't know. It's always been a judgmental type thing. Like, you're broken. It's hard to admit you're broken, or you have issues, or you have a therapist, or you're on medication. Or
I mean, I get it. I understand that it's definitely way more accepted now, but I'm like, they're just all lying to themselves. You're telling me that you've never had a hard day or season
everyone
ever?
has.
Yeah. I'm like, stop. Like, be real. Be a human being for a second.
And so everyone has mental health issues on what I'll call a scale.
Yeah.
I don't think it's black or white. I don't think it's like you're
Yeah.
depressed or you're not depressed. I think it's on a scale. And I would actually put body image disorders into that category too. Like, every single person, it's funny with men. Men aren't allowed to talk about this. But I promise you, to all your male listeners, you've had a fat day. You've changed your shirt to go out of the house. You felt bad about yourself.
Yeah.
You felt the need to go to the gym, and not to feel better about yourself, a compulsive need because there's a pool party coming up or something like that. You've probably been the guy who's done push-ups before going to the bar.
For sure.
To look good. And so,
for sure all my friends have.
yeah. So you have, whether you want to admit it or not, you have some type of body dysmorphia on a scale.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Everything's scalable.
You've got it in some way. And
Yeah.
so everyone has mental illness in some way. And I wouldn't even frame it as mental illness. You just suffer from, let's call them, negative feelings at one time or another.
And I think it's just a part of the human experience, right? When we think about, let's say, we're all on this spectrum, and what causes us to go higher on the spectrum, a lot of it is real life experience, right? And real things that happen, whether it's a loss or a failure or a heartache, or it's extreme success, and getting to that point of success and realizing that that's not what fulfills you. Sometimes that even feels more empty, because then you're like, I thought that this would be it. I thought that this would fulfill me and make me happy. And so I think, I agree with what you're saying. I think there's a spectrum to be had with it. What do you find has helped you, let's say, in moments where you've gotten, pretty high up in the spectrum, meaning that you are suffering a little bit more, you are struggling through these things a little bit more. What has helped you to kind of bring it back down to a baseline?
Framing. And by framing, I mean altering your perception. You can't alter your circumstance at times. You can 100% alter how you look at it. And so let's talk about this weekend, what happened. We're at First Phorm. We're at an event. It's exhausting at times. There are people lined up to talk to you, take your picture, tell you stories. Some of them can be a little bit overbearing. It happens. Like we've met people that are. On the one hand, you can choose to be annoyed. You could choose to be tired because that's a choice. You could choose to complain. Or you can look at the other perspective of it. I'm damn lucky to be here.
1,000%.
I love First Phorm. How fast did Summer Smash tickets sell out?
Minutes.
Like minutes?
Like, I want to say under 3.
How many people are there? Let's call it 10,000 that are terribly disappointed they didn't get a ticket. But First Phorm flew me out, put me in a nice hotel, feeds me.
Right.
They bus me.
Right.
I am lucky.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%.
So for me, that's a perception. So every time I start to feel, and it's normal to feel this way, like I want to complain, want to be upset, want to look at the negative, I take a step back, remove myself from the situation and say, let's look at this for what it is.
Yeah.
And then I choose the other perspective.
Yeah, I love that. And for me, I mean, man, it'll never get old talking to people in person and having them share something, you know. I had someone, you know, share just the other day, and I know you get it all the time too, and saying how the podcast helped them literally go from alcoholic, you know, bad relationship, bad environment, bad work situation, all these things, to this life of, so she's living in sobriety and happiness and fulfillment and better relationship and all these things. And I'm just listening to her, and it's almost like surreal. It's like, really? Like all of that happened. And there, I mean, so for me, it's just, I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation because honestly, I can feel pretty disconnected sometimes. You know, I love the interview process of this, but a lot of the times I'll do like Zoom interviews or solo episodes. So I'm alone inside of my studio recording. To me, that feels very disconnected to my audience. So the opportunities that I get to be in person with my audience, I'm amped for, like more than people realize. And often I find myself kind of just like taking a little seat back for a second and just kind of like listening to what they say and really intaking it, you know, because it hits deep. I don't think people realize. It's weird how they say that my podcast has helped them do that, but yet it comes around full circle, because when they share those things with me, or I'm sure when they share those things with you, it like inspires you to keep going. It actually inspires you and helps you with those exact things that they just shared.
So here's another way to frame with that. I have to versus I get to.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
have to go work out versus I get to go work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
A podcast, for example. There have been podcasts I've done where it's like, God, I wish I never agreed to this.
Totally.
Was
it this morning?
It wasn't this morning. But
okay, good.
It was
like, oh, geez.
Things like that
you can
happen.
leave.
But there was a time
yeah.
I was begging to be on people's podcasts.
Right.
So it's like, why did I lose that? That's a perspective thing, and that's a problem with me. I see it with fitness all the time. I have to go work out. Do you know how many people are paralyzed from the neck down that would kill to just be able to walk on a treadmill? No, you get to go work out. And so back to like kind of circle back, for me, everything for me has become about fulfilling my potential as a human being, living life to the fullest, and enjoying experiences. I want to quiz you for a second.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
There's a lot of people that hate waking up. They're miserable when they wake up. They're unhappy. It's that Monday morning. They push the snooze button 8 times. They don't want to start their day. What I would ask them is, what is waking up worth to you? So would you pay $1 million to wake up alive tomorrow? Yes. I mean, you would say yes.
Would I pay $1 million
to wake up alive versus dying in your sleep? Would you pay $1 million to wake up alive tomorrow?
The opportunity of life is everything. So yes.
So waking up, you just won $1 million prize.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you frame it like that, you're like, okay, because I would do anything to still be alive tomorrow. So the fact that I wake up, it doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter how upset I am. It doesn't matter that it's a Monday and my life sucks and my job sucks and all those things. It's literally worth more than $1 million to me.
Yeah, that's such good perspective. One thing that I actually started doing, and I've shared this before, but when I wake up, I'll open my eyes and say, oh, damn, like I get to do it again. I act surprised. Like I act actually surprised, like, oh, I woke up, you know? Because I feel like when people just get in the rut and they drag and they roll their eyes and they're like, oh, I got to do this and that and that. It's like you're not even appreciating the fact that you get another day on this earth, you know? There's so many people, like you mentioned, that in the cop world, you see it all the time. And I've seen it a lot in my own life. These people never got to be 30. They never got to be 35 or 40, you know? So it's like, if I get there, then I think that's amazing. And I think it's, you know, just something a lot of people take for granted.
Yeah. And so I always frame it like that. And again, it's not meant to be morbid. It's just reality.
Yeah.
And so every day that you have is a gift. And there's too many people in this world that they live Monday to Friday, miserable, in a job they don't like, not fulfilled with a passion. They've got no passion in their relationships. They're stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, that are literally living for Saturday and Sunday as an escape. And then they spend Saturday and Sunday anxious about going back to work on Monday. That's no way to live.
So, okay, talk to those people. What would you say to them? You just spelled out their life. They're like, did he just read my diary? What advice do you have to them for starting to create a change in their life?
I would say take a chance. That thing that you've always wanted to do, that passion project. Maybe it's writing poetry. Maybe it's painting with watercolors. Maybe it's having a professional podcast. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Just try. Forget all the negative voices that are telling you that you can't. You can't do this. Do you know how many podcasts fail? Do you know how many poets fail? Painters don't make money till they die. I'm trying to think of what other examples I gave. But whatever those negative voices are, forget them and just try to go for your goal. I'll actually relate it to personal experience. When I quit being a cop, I had a lineup of cops tell me I was throwing away a great career. I was going to regret it. I didn't know anyone in the United States. Why would I move there from Canada? Do you know what the States is like? You know what I mean?
Wait, what do they say? Do you know what the States is like? Like freedom?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different world. People look at it as different. We're not that much different than you guys in Canada and the States. But like, do you know what
you
it's
guys are
like?
a lot friendlier.
Do you know what you're going to do? What if you fail?
Totally.
What's going to happen? You won't get your job back. Anyway, it was a lineup of just negative stuff that didn't even make sense.
It's just small-minded. To them, it's not even negative. It's just they don't even have the open mentality.
They're also, and they're doing this, and they're not doing it to be mean.
Yeah.
But they're speaking from their experience, and they're scared to go after their dream. So they want to drag you down now. They're not doing it on purpose. It's subconscious. But I look back on my life. Imagine I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
I wouldn't be in the UFC again.
Wow.
I wouldn't have my kids. I wouldn't have my wife.
Wow.
I wouldn't have all the things I loved. I wouldn't have ended up working for Men's Health if I would have listened to those negative voices. So my thing is, just do it. And by the way, you're miserable now. So even if you fall on your face and fail, how much lower can you really go?
It's such a good point.
Like,
literally the only option is up.
Yeah, the only option is up. So why not just try?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I would tell people, go after that thing that you want, or that thing that you want to do, and chase it. And you're actually seeing that in the wake of COVID. There's a lot of people that quit their jobs in New York, quit their jobs in LA. They moved to a small town and they started passion projects.
Yeah.
And they're way happier.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go work for a corporation that hates them, a corporation that would, sack them or lay them off at any time. And they're way happier. But it shouldn't take COVID, or it shouldn't take some health crisis, or it shouldn't take some death in the family to provoke that or invoke it.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I feel like people are oftentimes living in this unconscious matrix, like this unconscious way of thinking, that until there's something that like jolts them back into reality, I feel like it's hard to break that unconscious programming and way of thinking and way of life. So I feel like it either has to be some sort of event or some sort of personal pursuit of greatness, right? Yeah. A pursuit of, I think there's more for my life and I want to pursue that. That simple thought, I think, can create and provoke a lot of change, simply because if you have that thought, you're going to pursue different avenues of learning and growing, whether that be podcasts or books or coaching programs or getting yourself around people who have a bigger mindset than you. I think all those things can be really beneficial. But yeah, I think the issue is like sometimes it just takes that for people to wake up in the first place.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, like I always say, it shouldn't take cancer
it's like,
for you to change your life.
Yes. And it's like, why is our society promoting a society that's that way? Why is our society all of a sudden a bunch of walking around zombies that all repeat and do the same thing? And there's no creativity. There's no new ideas. There's no like oomph for life. There's no people pursuing excellence. And I say no, that's, blanket statement. Not that's not true. But like, the majority of the wide variety of population, they're living less than their best. They're living lives that they were never called to simply because it's what their parents told them to do, their teachers told them to do. They've never actually explored what's inside of them and what's a part of their DNA and their thumbprint and what's their mark to leave on the world. And that's something that really drives me in my life is, we go back to, we have a very short life, right? So I started, for example, this is a small example, but nature speaks to my soul in such a way that I cannot describe it. My heart will literally skip a beat when I even just view these beautiful places on Instagram. And to me, the desires of your heart and what captivates your soul, those are messages of like what is supposed to be a part of your life. You're supposed to follow those little tracks, right? It's kind of like breadcrumbs, and I think you're supposed to follow them. So I finally got to a point where I was like, if life really is short, and let's say that this is my last year on earth, I want these lived experiences. So back to what you were saying about the job and about just go after this new idea or this new business that you guys have. Think about it. Like if you die, do you want to die doing the same thing that already makes you miserable? Like screw it. Even if you do fail, like just screw it and go out there and try. At least you can try and say, okay, I had that experience. I learned from it. And now maybe you don't return to the same job. Maybe you go to a different one, or maybe that taught you exactly why you don't want to be in that industry, which is valid information too. Right. So yeah, I think people could start creating more changes in their life if they would understand how short life is and the fact that we all fail. We all fail on the way to our success. You're a fighter, right? What has that been like for you, balancing the successes and the failures, and how do you handle those losses when they do come?
I love failure. I embrace it. If failure showed up at my door, I would invite it down and have lunch with it.
Damn.
Like it's just, here's the thing. The worst feeling in the world is regret. By far. There's nothing that comes close. It leads to depression, anxiety, misery. That's the last thing you want to deal with. So I would rather try and fail and have peace than feel regret and wonder, what if?
Regret, you said it's the worst thing that you can have, worst thing you can experience and feel, right? So what about those people that are listening saying, I am regretful about things in the past?
Then go do it now. Go fix it now. That person that you hurt in your 20s, there's a thing called Instagram. There's a thing called Facebook. You can find them. Apologize.
Yeah.
You know what happens?
Yeah.
Your regret goes away in the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
That job that you wanted to try, go do it now. Regret's an easy thing to solve. It's a terrible thing to live with, but it's an easy thing to solve. Just go try now. And there's no age. There's no age limit on anything. There's no age that you can't try.
Yeah.
You might not be successful, but the beauty is if you're not successful, you find peace.
Yeah.
And so you're successful either way. Now, the other thing with failure is I've learned more from my failures than I have from any single success.
Yeah.
The third thing I'll say is this. The most successful athlete in the world right now is arguably LeBron James. He just became a billionaire. Apparently, he has a great relationship with his wife. He's never been involved with a scandal. He gives tons of money to charity. He's won a lot. He's also lost a lot. He's lost multiple NBA finals. He's lost multiple games. He's a victim of constant hate and abuse online. I'm sure he's had personal failures. He's successful. Another man I deeply respect, Andy Frisella. I think First Phorm, and I'm not trying to be biased here, I think they're one of the best companies in the world.
I agree.
They treat their employees really well.
Yeah.
They're driven. Everyone told them they couldn't, and they have, and they've done more than that. If you sit Andy down, he has failed time and time and time again, despite the fact we all look up to him. You take somebody like Elon Musk, another ultra successful person, has failed and, by the way, been laughed at multiple times. Mark Zuckerberg, whether you like him or hate him, the guy from Facebook, he had Facebook wasn't his first thing. He had multiple failures before that. So it doesn't matter who you pick from whatever walk of life. You take somebody, they've had multiple failures in their life, and they're the most successful person in the world at what they do. So it's okay to fail too, because it got them to where they are. And I bet you they wouldn't trade in their failures either, because they're very cognizant of the fact it got them where they are.
Absolutely. That they wouldn't be where they're at without those. So, okay, we're talking about it. We know that failure is a part of the process. We know we have to learn to accept it. But how do you start to have a better experience and better relationship to failure? Meaning it feels horrible. Like when you're actually going through it, when you are like really failing, let's say as a business, right? They are just almost going bottoms up, right? How do you experience failure in a productive way, in a way that does lead to that success versus letting it crush you?
So I think part of it, again, is that framing that I talked about. I think understanding that you're not unique. Everyone thinks they're a unique snowflake. They're not. Your story has been told
My
before.
mom tells me I'm special.
You know, it's not true. Like, despite the fact your parents told you that you're special and all these things, it's just not true. You are not alone. And a lot of us, I think the root of our problems is that we feel alone. We're sitting in our bed and we're anxious, or we're depressed, or we're going through a divorce, or we went through a breakup, or we just went a failure. And you feel the weight of the world on you, and you feel like you're the only one that understands. You feel like you're failing. You feel like you're miserable. You feel like you're completely isolated. You're not. There's support groups for you. There are thousands of people, probably in your area, that feel the exact same way you do. So just not feeling alone, I think, is a huge part of the process in learning to start accepting it. And then understanding those people that I mentioned. And by the way, you can give a list of 5,000 people.
Yeah.
That are the most successful people in the world that you would kill to be in their shoes, and you look up to them, understand that they've failed too.
Well, it's like Oprah Winfrey on one of her first TV shows. She was actually fired and told that she had no future in this at all. And she's like, so I figured that the best way to combat that was just to have my own TV network and my own, you know, and look at her. So yeah, I think it's really crazy because, you know, people have this false perception that they have to have it all together all the time, or that their first business idea has to work, or even relationship, right? I'm going to be 31 next week and I've been divorced, and that's not something I ever wanted or planned for my life, and it definitely feels like a failure in my life. But sometimes you got to go through those things in order to know how to be successful when it does come again, you know? So I love that you're saying that there.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know how Amazon started?
I don't.
It's the biggest business in the world.
The book, the online book.
It was an online book club, and it wasn't working, so they pivoted and switched gears. It was a failure that turned into Amazon. So, like, if you're listening to this, you are Amazon, or you could be Amazon.
Wow, yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's that simple. And that's happened. There's so many examples of that. So my thing is, why can't it be you? You focus on why it shouldn't be, but why can't it be? It can 100%, and you're probably more capable. We all are, myself included, way more capable than I give myself credit for.
Yeah, no kidding.
Everyone is.
Yeah. Well, you know, so earlier you mentioned Andy Frisella, right? And we're here for the first Phorm Summer Smash. It's been an incredible event. But, you know, I think about the version of him that was sleeping on a pee-stained mattress in the back of his supplement store with friends that looked at him and made fun of him and laughed at him and was like, hey, you still got that vitamin shop going on, you know? And so to, you know that he went from that to where he's at today.
Yeah,
right?
Who's laughing now, motherfucker?
Say it. Yeah.
I should have asked if I could swear in this thing, but literally, who's laughing now, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, imagine Andy would have given up and said, success isn't for me. So many supplement stores have failed. I can't do this. I'm miserable. I'm just going to lay carpet for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, and the people that are listening right now, I think there's a lot of people that are that beginner version of him. They are sleeping on a pea-stained mattress. They are the people that have zero money, that, you know, can't even pay themselves a check at the end of the month. And so I think what people need to do is to take all these people off the pedestal, so to speak, of thinking that they are some special, unique God send, right? That are, you know, just so far distance from them, when the truth is they're just further along in their journey.
You know the only difference between Andy and these other people out there who have failed us? He just did it. That's it. Like, he still wakes up in the morning. He still has to put his socks on one at a time.
Yeah.
He still showers. He still struggles.
Yeah.
He still faces failure. The only difference between you and him is that he actually just got out of bed and tried.
Yep.
You just didn't.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And tried over and over and over again, you know, and continued through failure. Instead of saying, I've tried this a million times, I'm still a loser, I still can't pay the bills at the end of the month, I give up.
Well, there's no limit on how many times you can fail. Like, I believe it was Thomas Edison who had multiple failures. And then the thousandth thing he invented was the light bulb. It's like, okay, well, Jesus.
Bruh.
Like, imagine he would have quit at like 997 or 998.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Real. I
like,
do.
it's Benjamin Franklin was a great inventor. He's invented all kinds of things. If you look him up, he's had multiple failures. And then I always tell a story about a kid. You ever watch a baby try to walk? They fall down. They fall down again. They fall down and hit their head. And then there's the tears. I've just went through this with my 2-year-old.
Oh.
And then they struggle to get up.
Yeah.
Do you think at any time during that process they just sit down and say, you know, maybe this walking thing, it's not for me. Like, maybe I'm just going to give up on this and I'm going to live off this floor. They don't.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been corrupted by negative human spirit.
So good.
They just keep doing it. And then guess what happens? They figure it out and they start walking.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think we need to return to this like childlike mentality sometimes and not forget where we came from, not forget our original creation. You know, I even think about, you know, we talked a little bit about mental health, but I think about some people who are close to me who really just they tied their entire identity to some mental health struggles that they were having. And I was like, here's the problem. I've known you your entire life since you were born. That is not you. That is your struggle. You're going through that. That's real. I'm not discrediting any of that, but that is not how you were created. And I know that.
Yeah.
So you need to get through this. And now, like, having them come out on the other side of this, they actually no longer identify with those labels that they once thought was a part of their DNA. You know, so I think there's a big issue within the mental health crisis that we're having right now of people thinking, oh, thank God I found out what's wrong with me. I now have this label and now this is who I am.
Defines you.
It defines them completely.
But here's what cripples you. And I do a lot of life psychology, sports psychology work with people and mentorship. And it always comes back to this. The 10 words that will ruin your life are what will other people think and what will other people say. That right there is the root of all these problems. We're so preoccupied with image. We're so preoccupied with being made fun of. We're so preoccupied what a person we don't even know is going to say about us. It leads to us accepting these labels, us always needing an excuse or a reason why something happened because we just can't handle what other people think or say.
Yeah, that's good. I was just having this conversation with Andy yesterday at Summer Smash, actually, and I was telling him, you know, what I'm going to do from now on is literally write down the list, because sometimes I think if you're not careful, you can start to give value to other people's opinions, right? So I'm like, okay, from now on, I'm just going to write down a list of like 10, right? Maybe like the 5 that really matter, the 5 that like secondarily kind of matter. I'm going to listen to them. And when someone starts talking to me and saying things, whether it's negative or whatever, I'm going to pull out the list and say, oh, sorry, you didn't make the list.
A couple things with that.
Yeah.
Number 1,
you're still giving it to other people. I get that.
If you don't know the person personally,
oh yeah,
don't take it personal.
100%.
Number 2, they could be wrong, right? Like realistically.
100%. Even people that you value and respect and have
it doesn't mean
similar
they're right.
core values
Because
with. Yeah.
they're giving you advice from their perspective, but that doesn't mean it's going to work.
It's so true.
For you. Number 3, they don't have to live your life. They can give you all the advice or all the whatever criticism they want. They don't have to live your life. And then the final thing, and arguably the most important, nobody fucking cares.
That's so true.
So like there's a whole bunch of people on our team yesterday that were probably struggling with what to wear. Oh, do I look cute enough in these shorts?
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
I don't like the way I look in this hat. I'll bet you money you can't even remember what I wore yesterday. You're so worried about yourself, or you're so worried about talking to people at Summer Smash, you don't know if I had green shorts, red shorts, or pink shorts on. Like, you just would have no idea. So we're all so worried about what other people are thinking. Dude, Nobody fucking cares.
That's so true. There's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of freedom in realizing that, because then you stop giving so much value on what other people think, and also wasting all that time, effort, energy, and anxiety and stress on things that don't matter.
Yeah, like you wouldn't notice if I clipped my fingernails. You probably wouldn't notice if I had a little blemish on my skin.
No.
You probably wouldn't notice what color shorts I had, or if a hat looked like a little bit off on me.
Right.
But meanwhile, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, oh my God, I look terrible. You have no idea. People are walking around so consumed with their own stuff.
Yeah, that's so true.
They don't notice or care about you.
Yeah.
So the sooner you get that through your head that nobody fucking cares, you're going to be better off. And by the way, the person that says something negative online, even though it hurts your feelings, it feels really negative, they probably don't even remember typing it. Because it's just you open up a story on Instagram, you type something, and you walk away. They don't even remember it 10 minutes later. So why are you letting it ruin your whole life?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I actually, this is really funny and immature, but
let's go.
Back in the day, Facebook in like 2006 had that new status update.
Yes.
That was like Bobby Maximus is feeling.
Yes. Oh, is feeling. Yes, the is feeling.
I woke up one morning and I'm like, Bobby Maximus is feeling great. I'm going to have an amazing day. And all these people commented, oh my God, you deserve it. I'm so proud of you. Just spewing all this bullshit. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, it sounds so positive.
Oh, this is interesting. All right, I'm going to play this a little more. So at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I wrote, Bobby Maximus is devastated. This is the worst thing in the world. I can't take life anymore.
You did not do this.
Yeah. All the people commented, oh my God, I'm here for you. I love you. You're a beautiful person. Like, do you need help? And then at like 6, 7 o'clock at night, I wrote again, Bobby Maximus is great. I'm on top of the world. It's a beautiful day. A bunch of people commented, I'm so proud of you. I love you. You deserve it. You know what the scary fucking thing is? It was all the same people. Like, not one person hit me up and said, like,
are you actually okay?
Are you like all right? Like, you're crazy. Like, do you realize your status updates are insane?
Nobody called you out.
No, it was just people that read a status update.
Just so we're clear, if you ever do that on Instagram, I will call you out immediately. We had immediate FaceTime.
And
Bro,
their
take
fat
that
little
down.
greasy thumbs just type in whatever they're thinking.
Like I see what you're saying.
And then they move on
recognize.
instantaneously, and they don't even remember. That's how scary the online experience can be. So like this person that writes a comment that you're fat or you're ugly or you suck, they couldn't even pick you out of a lineup or remember what they even said the next day.
Wow.
And I've had people where people have said mean stuff to me and I've DM'd them. And I've said, hey, do you realize how hurtful that is? And they're like, dude, I didn't even remember saying
That's
that.
so
Like,
Canadian
sorry.
of you.
I'm embarrassed. Like they just don't remember. So even when like people, they're not thinking about you.
That's actually true. I usually never respond to any of those things, but I have responded to a few previously, and I've responded with compassion and kindness, and actually had a conversation with them. And at the end, they were like, "Hey, I just want to say I was in a really bad mood today, and I'm sorry I was such a jerk." You know, and they apologize, and I'm like, "Hey, I can totally respect that. Thanks for apologizing."
But they didn't even realize the gravity of what they said, and this has happened multiple times. So my point to this is like people like, guys, nobody cares. Just go do your thing, live your life, be happy. And worry about you. And then if you're positive, positivity begets positivity. Other people will be positive, then other people will be positive, and other people will be positive.
That's true. All right, I want to take us back to October, was it this past year, I think, 2021, at Fall Fest for Summer Smash. Fall Fest for First Phorm. And I remember you had just gotten back from, I don't think I'm going to say it right, the IBJJF, whatever, and I was like, oh, yeah, how'd it go? And you're like, oh, pretty good, went well. I was like, oh, okay, like, did you, place? You're like, yeah, I won the whole thing. Again, for the, 5th time?
Yes.
So, okay, talk to me a little bit about your jiu-jitsu journey. One, when did you get into jiu-jitsu? I'm curious if you were in it when you were a cop or if that came later. And then, just tell me a little bit about that journey for you and what that's been like and how it has led to you being a world champion.
So I guess I got into it when I started professionally fighting, because obviously doing MMA stuff, you need some type of ground game.
For sure, yeah.
And I could wrestle, but I didn't know the submission component.
Gotcha.
And so I started fighting in 2001.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so I started doing, I guess, informal jiu-jitsu at the time.
Informal? What does that mean?
Submission grappling.
Oh, gotcha.
Rolling around.
Oh, gotcha.
Trying to put people in joint manipulations. Like, it wasn't formal jiu-jitsu with the gi and the belt and all that kind of stuff. And it was always just from that point on a part of my life because it was something that I needed to know and needed to do.
Okay.
I lost a fight due to a submission. And at that point, I had to do some introspection and some thinking. And I came to the conclusion that maybe just rolling around wasn't enough. Maybe I actually had to learn real jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky enough to train with Silvio Bering, who's a red belt right now, and Shaw Franco.
Red belt? What's a red belt?
They're like people you will never meet. They're the gods of jiu-jitsu, if you will.
What? I didn't know there was anything beyond black.
Yeah, you've been a black belt for like 30 years or 40 years at that point.
Oh,
like,
shut up.
It's like a 7-year-old person that has like mastered jiu-jitsu since they're 10 years old.
Oh my God, I'm really mind blown right now. I'm going to Google that later. Thanks.
Yeah, look up red belts.
Thanks
There's
for
not
that.
many of them. Like you will not meet many red belts.
Now I have a goal to meet a red belt. I don't know why. That's kind of cool.
Important thing. Well, I got to train with one. So Silvio's one of the best ever, and we started doing jiu-jitsu. And it was formal, and it was super traditional.
Oh, I bet.
Like I was a white belt for 8 years.
8?
Yeah, because I didn't know self-defense. I didn't know the Brazilian lineage. I couldn't speak Portuguese. He's like, you don't know jiu-jitsu.
Você fala português?
Yeah, you know how to fight, but you don't know jiu-jitsu. He would call me Hoshbersh.
What's that?
Robert. That's how he'd say Robert. Hoshbersh.
Hoshbersh?
Yeah, Hoshbersh. You don't know jiu-jitsu. I know give you belt, you roll, but Anyway, so I started doing formal jiu-jitsu, and I would have to put on the gi and kind of go through the motions. And then when I retired from fighting, I kind of put jiu-jitsu on hold a little bit. And then I found my way back with Carlos Santos and Suyen Quiros in Salt Lake City, who are multiple-time world champions.
That's awesome.
And I started falling in love with the sport again. And at that point, I really decided I want to go all in. I want to push my chips to the middle of the table. I want to do my self-defense. I want to learn how to count in Portuguese. I want to do all the things that you expect me to do to be a genuine black belt in the art of jiu-jitsu, not fighting, the actual art of it. Like I want to know where to line up, how to bow properly, how to tie my belt, like all the important things that are respect and honor and integrity. And I started that in 2015.
Okay.
And then I got my black belt last year.
Wow, that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And it was such an achievement for me because, man, those men were so hard on me.
Oh, yeah.
I bet. I fought in the UFC, because I have a public stage and they're putting their stamp on me by giving me the black belt.
Yeah.
Because they knew I was a great fighter and I had all this other stuff to learn. I mean, I was a brown belt world champion 2 years in a row without getting a point scored on me, and they still wouldn't give me a black belt.
That's awesome.
They're like, Bob, it's good you go fight and you beat people, cool, but you still don't know jiu-jitsu.
Dang, you still don't know jiu-jitsu.
Like, what the hell? Like, what do I got to do? So I had to take a rules seminar. I had to do like my CPR cert because like if I ever want to teach the class, I should know CPR. I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with a black belt? And they just put me through the ringer.
That's awesome.
And I am forever grateful for them for that, because when I got my black belt, I actually cried. Like it meant something to me. Like I earned it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it because I was in the UFC.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like not many people get the opportunity to have the training that you've had from some of the greatest in the world in the sport. So I'm curious, how did this martial art, how did it impact your mentality, right? Because a lot of people see it as like this, such a physical thing. But what I'm really learning that is in the martial arts, there's so much that goes into it that is mindset. And I think it truly does make you a better person. Like I've really said, I think Jiu-Jitsu is one of the best personal development programs ever, and I'm still like brand new into it. So I'm curious, with your level of experience, how has it mostly impacted your mentality?
So if I was to say the single biggest thing that it's taught me, it's that everything is earned and that there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
And to be patient. So if you look at, and I'm going to give you a few experiences that are near and dear to your heart.
Okay.
Number one, the podcast. You can start a podcast. In your first podcast, you're going to get 0 downloads. And your second one, you might get a couple. And your third, you might get a couple. And it's going to take you years and hundreds of episodes to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
But if you have the perseverance, there's no reason you can't be a Joe Rogan. A friend of mine, Ryan Mishler, he does the Order of Man podcast. He started off doing podcasts part-time, had a job, did it from his basement, didn't have good recording stuff. A bunch of people said no to him. He just had Matthew McConaughey on his podcast.
That's awesome.
Like, he's grown and is making a full-time living off it right now.
That's awesome.
You know why? Because he just didn't quit. And so there's another one with the First Phorm Elite Athlete Program. First Phorm doesn't just sign you off the street to be an elite athlete.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I desperately want to be an elite athlete.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here that do.
Yeah.
But you have to put in time.
Yeah.
You have to help people.
Yeah.
And it could be 4 years. It could be 5 years. But if you be patient and if you work hard and if you just show up in a positive way and don't quit, you will get there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with a black belt. You know what a black belt is? A white belt that just didn't quit.
Right. You know, I heard that on the podcast. I forgot. Oh, it was actually Greg Anderson's podcast, The Endless Endeavor. Shout out to him. We love Greg Anderson. Him and two of our other friends, Greg, and Mitch, they were doing the Greg, and Mitch show, and they were talking about jiu-jitsu. And one of the biggest pieces, you know, of advice, or like why people actually make it, like you mentioned, is like literally it's just not quitting. It's keeping on showing up.
Literally.
Showing up to training when you get your ass beat, showing up to training when you feel like you're making progress, and everything in between. And I think that, you know, it's just such a good platform to be able to practice perseverance, grit, determination, all of these things that I feel like people don't have like a realistic or a practical way to practice those things in their life, right?
Yeah.
But like with jiu-jitsu, I feel like it's a very practical thing to experience.
This teaches you that. So you're
Yeah.
blown away by idea of a red belt.
Yeah.
You know what a red belt is? A
white
black belt
belt
that didn't quit.
Yeah.
That just kept showing up 5 days a week, and then eventually you get your red belt. And so that's all life is. And if you look at being a First Phorm elite athlete, having a podcast, having a healthy relationship, having a better relationship with your kids, getting the job you want, it's literally like, honestly, you know what the secret is? Take 2 hours a day and try. Maybe it takes you
so
4
good.
years, maybe it takes you 5 years, maybe it takes you 6 years.
That's so good.
Take 2 hours a day and try, and I promise you at some point you will get there.
Yeah.
But that's not what you do. You try for 3 weeks and quit.
Yeah.
It's going to take longer than 3 weeks. Like, I hate to tell you that, but just show up and don't quit. And when I say show up, I'm not talking about physically just being there. I'm talking about put in some effort, like actually be present.
Yeah, like actually be there. You know how, okay, I'm sure you've had this experience when they're teaching the move for the day in jiu-jitsu, right? And you're sitting there and you're watching, and then they do the clap, like the break thing, and then you're like, I have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah,
like, you
I'm
just
thinking
blanked
about my
out.
hair. I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about like what links I'm going to post today. It's like, oh my God, I totally zoned
Same
out.
thing in Muay Thai. Sometimes it'll happen. He's explaining things, and then I realize he puts me with like the newest person because I'm now not the very newest person. And then I'm like, oh God, now it's on me to know what we're doing.
And I have no idea what we just did.
But I'm like, I don't even know if he threw a punch or if it was a kick.
How many times does that happen in life?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
even if you're working and answering email, when I'm turned on, it's shocking to me how many emails I can answer in a productive way in a very short period of
100%.
time. When I'm not, it's like such a waste of time.
Exactly. And I've learned in those moments to recognize that and change my state, change my environment. So if I'm in that way, like if I'm, you know, at home working, get up, go for a walk, a 10-minute walk, not even 10. You can go for 5 minutes. A 5-minute walk outside with some sunshine, do a few deep breaths, you know, take some space for yourself, and then go back there with a fresh perspective and, you know, that new fire inside. Because I feel like when you're just in a rut and you're in a pattern, you're like, oh, I got to work from, you know, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. today. You're going to have exhaustion and fatigue and brain fatigue. So I've really learned different practices in my life, whether that be stillness or meditation or breath work or just utilizing things like activity and sunlight.
Putting your phone away, turning off the TV,
Yes.
like stopping daydreaming.
Yes.
But it's just like literally, it's just you're capable of so much if you put your stuff away. It's what Tim Ferriss is. It's actually funny. I don't know if you ever read the 4-Hour Work Week.
No, but I know it's very popular.
So people take it as like, oh, I only have to work 4 hours. No, that's not the point. The point is if you can get your productivity improved, you can work far less.
Yeah.
Like the point is you think you're putting in 40 hours a week. You're sitting at a desk for 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
You might only be actually working 10 or 12 of them.
100%.
So if you can learn that, you can just get all your work done and be hyper productive and then get the life you want.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. And I feel like it's hard to break from this society that we've created where it's like more, work 365, team no sleep, all of that. But to me, that's actually not a happy or successful way of living. And it's not a fulfilled way of living. And I've done it. I've done it where I work nonstop. I never make any time for play or fun or relaxation or just being, and I'm really I've transitioned and grown a lot into this place of wanting to have moments of being. Not everything has to be work. Not everything has to be, so structured and pushing the needle forward. Sometimes it's about like experiencing the beauty of life, which come gifted in these moments.
Can I ask you a workout question?
Sure.
I have 2 programs. Same person. One program, the person works out 20 hours a week, like it's some badge of honor.
Wow.
They work 20 hours a week and they get a result. And then the next program I write for the same person, they only work out 4 hours a week but get the same result. What was a better program?
The one that they enjoyed.
The one that's 4 hours, right? It's more productive. I get what you're saying by the one that they enjoyed, like the one that they like.
You know why I say that? Because I'm a psychopath and like I like to train multiple times a day.
Fair enough. But
I would be so unhappy at 4 times a week.
But my point to that, and I could do it with finances. If you work 20 hours and make $100 or work 4 hours and make $100.
Oh, yeah.
The 4-hour one is, now unless you just enjoy working 20 hours, but that aside.
I see what you're saying, yes.
There's
absolutely.
no badge of honor.
No,
to like, I
no.
get 2-a-days if 2-a-days is not fulfilling your goal.
100%.
Right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
There's no badge of honor of like team no sleep if you're like fat, lazy, and broke.
Yeah.
Like, great that you had no sleep and you're grinding and hustling.
Yeah.
But like I also have this thing on that note with the word grind. I hate it.
Why?
Like if it's such a grind, fucking quit. Do you know what I mean? Like you should.
I mean, I get it, but I think things are a grind. Think about when you're, trying to get position, right? Like sometimes you have to really work out of.
But you should love what you do.
Yeah, but like to me, that those things can coexist.
Yes.
Grinding and loving what you do. So I don't know, perspective, right?
You understand what I mean? There's like this whole framing on like you have to be miserable to be successful.
Oh yeah, no.
That's not true. Like
No.
you don't have to get no sleep.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat chicken breast and broccoli.
Yeah.
You don't have to like see Jesus every time you run on the treadmill.
Yeah.
You don't have to hate your life to be successful. You know
Yeah.
what? You can sleep in once in a while and maybe that will make you more
100%.
successful. Like these people are like, I'm up at 4:30 every day.
It's like,
Good
okay,
for you.
Have fun with that.
You know what I do? I've made my life that I never have to wake up to an alarm clock.
That's awesome.
I wake up and I'm good to go. And I found my horsepower is better. I'm productive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm present. Like it helps everything.
I think what I'm hearing too, even between us speaking with our different perspectives as well, is that there's literally no way that fits everybody. It's not a one size fit all, whether it be relationship or success or finances or fitness or, your jiu-jitsu journey, whatever. There's not a one size fits all for things. So
No, we're all different.
yeah.
We all have different relationship needs.
Yeah.
We all have different income needs. We all have different, like it's.
And there's different things that fulfill us, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's about finding the things that truly fulfill you and creating your life around that. I think people think in order to live a happy or fulfilled life that they have to make some massive change. And I think in some cases, absolutely that is required. But in other cases, I think you can actually look at what's in your hand and find a different way of doing what you're already doing, or maybe at different increments, right? Maybe they are working and they love their job, but they really don't feel passionate or fulfilled within it. Could you go half-time with that? And that can be your bread and butter. That can be the thing that sustains you and pays your bills and makes you live a stress-free life. And then in the time that you have after that, work on a little side hustle that brings you to life, that brings you so much joy, so that after a half day of work, you can't wait to go work on that thing. But yet some people think they have to just jump straight to that and be broke and homeless and go through that stage, and you just don't.
You don't. And there's the other thing I always say is just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done. Mm-hmm. So even if your way is new, even if it's novel, even if no one's ever done it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, so we are at the end of the show here. We're wrapping up here in just a second, but we haven't even talked about The Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
Can we get into a little bit of what that experience was like? So was this your second?
This is my second time.
Second time, right? Because you were on it when you were in your 20s or 30s?
Yeah, 27.
27.
26.
So talk to me about the version of you that showed up now as the 43-year-old version of yourself.
So this is a beautiful question because it actually relates perfectly to everything we just talked about.
Oh, perfect.
I was that guy. I was that guy that I just lectured you not to be. I retired from fighting in 2009 to be a better dad to my son. I just didn't think I could do both. And I knew that because I lost my dad young, I wanted to give this little guy everything I had.
Wow.
And so I retired from fighting. And for the next 12 years, every single time UFC was mentioned, it would feel painful. I'd feel regret. There was a little voice inside me that said, dude, you could have done this. You could have been a dad and fought. And you can still do this. And that guy there, you might be able to beat him. There was this little voice. And then I didn't like the voice, so I stopped watching UFC completely. I unfollowed them. I stopped paying attention to it. I just tried to block it from my life. But the fucking UFC, like, goddamn you, David White, you kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, you
and then,
literally
like,
can't ignore it. Yeah.
I'm trying to watch basketball on ESPN, and then I'm seeing UFC stuff, and I'm like, fuck, I can still do it. Shut the voice up. Shut the voice up. Shut the voice up. Well, the funny thing about the little voice, it kept getting louder and louder and louder. And there was a million reasons why I shouldn't have done this show. I'm 43 years old, the oldest contestant in history. I'm probably not going to win. I have a great reputation. If I lose, it could ruin that. People are going to laugh at me. I'm going to be a target on the internet. But there was one reason to say yes, and it was a very big reason. And by that point, that voice was screaming, you need to go do this.
Wow.
And I'm also, here I am telling people, shake things up. Quit your job, chase your dream, you're never too young, like all those things. Yeah. And I am a fucking hypocrite because inside I'm like scared to go do that thing. And I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah. I've lost a fight before. You want to make fun of me, Emily, because I didn't win a show? Fucking go nuts. You go do it at 43.
100%.
Like, or to the, not you, but the person on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm not a good fighter? Fight me then.
Yeah. I love that.
Let's do this right now.
For those of you that are just listening, how tall are you? 6'3" or something?
6'3", and 245 pounds.
I'm so good. I was going to say 6'3", 240.
I like it.
I'm pretty good at that usually.
210?
No, 210.
Because I am wrapped up in what other people think, I would have left. I'm done with you.
That's awesome. But delete it. You're not allowed to post the podcast.
Finish. But for real, like, what are you going to say about me that I did this? And so I just decided I need to do this for myself. And I came to the conclusion, it's what I said earlier. One of two things is going to happen. I'm going to win the thing and prove myself right, or I'm going to lose and I'm going to find peace.
Wow,
I found peace. Good. There's no more voice. I love watching fights again. I love talking about fights again. I got my passion back. Yeah. So I won.
Yeah.
Number two, I want to do this for that dad that's stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, that's miserable, that's scared. I want to do this for that mom that maybe suffers from mom guilt, that maybe doesn't think she deserves something, that maybe wants to go get what she wants, that maybe is in an abusive relationship and doesn't have the courage to leave, and to show her, like, even if you fail, it's okay. Just try. I wanted to do it for my kids. They're scared to compete sometimes. They're shy like I was. They're nervous, to show them that it's okay. And by the way, your dad, your hero, like, sometimes gods can die. Like, because you're a god to your kid. Like, you have to understand that. If you have a kid, they look up to you so much.
Yeah.
It's okay for your perfect person to fail too.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I think it's necessary.
And to watch you handle it with grace, with dignity, and with pride. And one more story about that. I lost my first fight in The Ultimate Fighter. I lost to Eduardo Perez. That's public knowledge now. He's a great fighter. He was the number one pick.
Nice.
You're going to see very big things from this man in the future.
Cool.
But I had a party at Traeger headquarters that was catered by a guy that won Iron Chef, that had this place, Clearwater Distiller. It's a super high-end booze company, like supply all the booze. A bunch of professional athletes. Like, it was a party. It was all over social media. I hosted a party of epic proportion, knowing that everybody there was going to watch me lose.
Yeah.
And they all thought I was going to win. But I knew that going in.
You knew you were going to lose?
That I was going to lose because it was pre-recorded.
Oh, right.
Like, the show was pre-recorded.
Sorry.
But, like, someone said to me, that was at the party, they said, you know what, out of all the things you've done, that's the most inspirational thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And I was like, what was? And they're like, the fact that you knew you lost and you were still going to celebrate and have a party that you did it.
Absolutely.
And it's like, why wouldn't I? Yeah, it was a huge achievement for me.
I feel like it's because a lot of people shy away from failure. They don't want their failure on display. And I think it takes a really strong person to be able to put their failure on display for the world to see and to still stand tall and to not shy away from that. So,
but the same thing is, how is it a failure? I tried my best. I inspired 100%. A bunch of people. And I will say this, and it echoes something Sal said yesterday for the 30 for the kids.
Yeah.
He was saying if he can save one kid's life, he'll stand on that.
Yeah.
If there is one person, you think whatever you want about me, that I suck at fighting, that I'm too old, that I didn't deserve to be there, that I should retire, you can think whatever you want. If there is one person out there that changes their life because of watching me take that chance, that's maybe a better dad to their kids, fuck, I won.
100%.
Like, I did what I'm supposed to do as a human being. I can check out now and go.
Yeah.
And I've done my thing. And there's a lot of people who've sent me messages about how inspired they are.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like I mentioned earlier, I really believe that our heart's desires and what captivates our soul and what speaks to us, it's literally part of our purpose for being here on the human experience on this earth. And so I think when you felt that feeling, that message of, I cannot ignore the fact that I'm being drawn to the UFC, what I think about is the person that your purpose was attached to. So it may have not even been about you in the first place. Like God, higher power, whatever people want to believe, I believe in God. Maybe he led you there so that you could have that experience be put on display, knowing full well you were going to be doing interviews and having your social platform, and you're this coach that is able to speak into people's lives in a way that somebody without your experience, your knowledge, your background would be able to speak into them. So I think that your calling, that calling of like, hey, you got to go do this, I think it was yes for you, yes for your peace, yes for you returning to your passion and showing yourself what you're worth. But I actually think it's so much deeper and so much more beautiful. I think it's attached to somebody else that needed you to do that.
I appreciate you saying that. And I've always said, if you want to change the world, just inspire 5 other people. So if you look at like permutative math, if Emily, your podcast inspires 5 people, then those 5 people each inspire 5 people. Now we're at 25. And then those 25 people each inspire 5 people. Now we're at 125. Do that about 10 times.
Wow.
And you've changed your entire country. Like, think about that. Just keep.
That's mind-blowing.
Multiplying. Like, what happens when it's 1 million people inspiring 5 other people? And then 5 million people inspiring 5 other people. If all you did was inspire 5 other people in a year, all the problems in this world would go away completely.
So with that, what is your last word to the audience? Maybe an inspired action or like an action step?
I would say, don't focus on solving world peace. You can't. Don't focus on solving world hunger. You can't. Don't focus on solving the financial crisis or the depression or how the government's handling the thing that I'm not allowed to say because the podcast will get shut down.
It's all right. We're already flagged.
Okay.
I say it all.
Don't focus on that. Focus on being the best person that you can be. And focus on being kind to other people. If you do those 2 things and everybody around you starts to do those things, you will change the world.
Yeah.
And you will be beneficial to society. And that's it. Just be kind. I'll leave you with one last thing. There was a story I was reading about a writer. And he said he is forever grateful to his 4th grade teacher because he wrote a poem. And the teacher said, you know, this is really good. You could be a writer one day. And it gave him the confidence to chase his dream and go get it. It was literally one sentence the teacher didn't remember.
Wow.
And it changed this dude's life. And so can you imagine the power of that in your life if you're just kind to people and better to yourself? Oh my God, like the world would change.
I agree. Wow, you have so much wisdom and knowledge. I feel like we could continue forever, but this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being on today.
And I did want to say, in the spirit of this, I am really grateful for you having me on your podcast. I come from a small town in the middle of nowhere. I don't really think I'm that special of a guy. Like, I'm a normal dude. And so I am always honored, humbled, and grateful when people like want to take their time to talk to me.
Yeah.
Like it means the world to me. And there was a time, like I really look up to you as a human being.
Thank you.
You're a person I aspire to be like in ways. You're a person at First Phorm that I want some of the things that you have. Like you're a leader here. And so the fact that you want to take time to talk to me, that's like a big deal. So thank you.
Oh, that means the world to me. Thank you so much. And one of the reasons I love the podcast is because it's the most intentional conversation. When else do you sit here and make eye contact and have a real conversation about the struggles, the highs, the lows of life? Like, not often do people take time out of their day to do this. So it's one reason I love it. But thank you for saying that. Is there anything that you want to shout out? Maybe a coaching program somewhere? I'll put your Instagram down below so they'll click, straight on the link. But
no, I would actually just want to ask of people. Like, I don't care if you follow me. I don't care if you find me. I don't care if you buy my stuff. If you found this to be in any way inspirational or you found it to help you in some way, just share it with 5 people.
Cool.
That's it. Like, just share it with people and hopefully they'll get the same message.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, thank you so much for being on, and let's go to the pool party.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Evolve with Emily. You know the drill. If you enjoyed it, like it, share it, subscribe to the show, share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.